Today, I'm talking with Rob Northcutt, whose main focus is capital allocation and a lot of golf, sometimes at the same time. And
Mhm.
today's focus is on two important skills: communication and networking. And guess what? Golf helps you with both. Welcome to the show, Rob. Tell us a little bit more about your golfing experience and some of the fun courses you've played.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, the thing about you were talking about networking and communication, and one of the great things about golf is you've got 4 hours where you're out in nature, and you've got a captive audience, and so it just facilitates, kind of a natural ebb and flow to the conversation, and gives you plenty of time to talk about whatever and really get to know somebody in a way that you might not over a more formal setting.
And I know just because we're good friends that you've played some really fun courses all over the world. So
Oh, I've
kind
been
of
so lucky. Yeah.
give me your top two that you've really loved.
Ooh, my top two. Well, this one will shock no one. Probably Cypress Point is probably, and that's a really fortunate to have played there. It's in Monterey, California. And then the other one, I'm going to say Royal County Down in Ireland, which is, if it's borderline mythical. It's a special place.
And I've never been to Ireland, so I would love to go just to be like the person carrying the bag
Oh,
as
there's
you're
so
walking
many
around the golf.
reasons to go. You got to get there. The people are so great. First time I was there, we were in Dublin late on a Sunday evening, and we were traveling the next day. But we were like, well, we got to go see Temple Bar, the famous pub that they have there. But it was 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and we're like, oh, it's going to be dead. But we'll go just to check it off. We go in at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. It's like Mardi Gras. That we get immediately surrounded by locals who hand us a beer and start taking pictures with us. And it was just a full on party. It was a lot of fun. They enjoy life over there.
Now, what is one of the coolest skills you've learned that you never thought would matter, but absolutely does?
Wow. I think it's just, and we touched on it earlier with the communication and the networking, it's just that ability to connect with people. And not that I didn't think that would matter, but I think as you get on in years, you recognize that it's the connections you make and the relationships you have that are really the most meaningful things and the most important things in life. And golf really is a great vehicle for helping to solidify those and to establish those.
Now imagine, okay, you're at this bar, this famous bar in Ireland, and you
Hmm.
handed your business card to one of the folks you met there just because you want to stay in touch with them. You're talking about golf, having a great time.
Hmm.
And this person looks at you because the Irish can be very witty like this. And he says, tell me three words to describe yourself so that when I pick up this card tomorrow, I can remember you from those three words.
Well, this may be wishful thinking, but hopefully I would want to come across as warm and inviting and confident. I think those are
Mhm.
probably the three words that I would like someone to remember me by.
And what is one of the weirdest situations where one of your skills saved the day on the golf course?
It's funny. There are little tricks that kind of identify people as someone who has been around golf for a while, and the ability to kind of pick up a golf ball off the ground with just your club and bounce it off the face of the club into your bag or into your pocket or something like that. Just silly little things like that that have people go, huh, that was, this is someone who has been around a golf course a few times.
Now, this one is a good resume question because I'm hoping that all of the kids who are watching the show are like thinking of this as how do I build out that resume to become what I want it to become as an adult? So, what skills do you have that would never fit on a resume but should?
Do you know what the Happy Gilmore is? So the Happy Gilmore is where you get a running start at a golf shot. And I hit probably the best drive of my life on with doing the Happy Gilmore one time, and it got people were howling about it. It was funny. It was a funny moment for me and my buddies. So yeah, that's something I certainly wouldn't put on a resume, but it's a good memory.
So, in book three,
Hmm.
and this is tying in a different kind of sport with the sport you're talking about. But Addie's dad takes her to the archery range at
Hmm.
Redstone Arsenal. There's actually an archery range there, and it's so cool. I go all the time. So they're out there practicing archery because he wants her to learn how to truly concentrate on the shot
Hmm.
and not be distracted by what's around her. And I know that's an important thing also in golf, but also if we tie this into just life, like that ability to focus, even when something might be happening around you or something is, trying to distract you, how do you tie in golf and that ability to focus and not let things distract you and really train yourself for success?
I think that's a great analogy. And that's absolutely true. I think that you develop that ability over a period of time Jack Nicklaus, one of the greatest golfers of all time, has a famous book in which he talks about, when he's over a ball, a gun could go off and it wouldn't, he was so laser focused, it wouldn't have affected him. And I don't know that I've ever gotten quite to that level, but you do get to a point where when you're over the shot and ready to hit, you manage to tune everything else out. And I think the better players do that better than most. But yeah, that's definitely, I think, an ability that you refine over time, and one that you can apply to a lot of things, right? The ability to really concentrate and filter out all the noise and focus on the task at hand. So golf would help with that.
What skill grows faster when you mess it up first? When you're out there on the golf course and I don't know, maybe you're putting or you're just
So I think, and a lot of people have said this recently, and I love hearing this, that you learn more from your mistakes than from your successes. And in golf, there's certainly a lot of mistakes. So you get to figure out really fast, where are the areas where you have the greatest room for improvement? Is it, you're struggling to get off the tee and put it in the fairway, or you're struggling with your shots around the green. And one of the big advantages to golf is there's so much data around it that you can look and see where are my relative weaknesses, and you can learn to focus on those and turn your weaknesses into strengths. So it's a really great game for being able to identify those quickly and being able to drill down and say, okay, I need to work on my short game this week. That's really holding me back.
share with the kids how you got started in golf. Like I know you told me the story about growing up near a golf course. So share that with them so they see
Yeah,
how
no, we
to get
were
involved.
super lucky. We lived in a neighborhood that was across the street from a private country club, which we were not members of. But this club allowed kids in this neighborhood to play free during the week after 3 o'clock. And so we would go over there with our ragtag bag of, 5 clubs that were borrowed from somebody, and in our Chuck Taylor sneakers, and the pro was so great. He kind of took us under his wing and showed us how to behave out there, and made sure that we would take care of the place. And that's kind of how I got started. Me and my neighbor buddies would spend our afternoons doing that, and just got the bug. Just really, it's one of those great games where you're really competing with yourself in a lot of ways. And so, you set some kind of personal bar, and then you go out there and put in the work to try to best it. And you get to keep moving that bar and seeing how you're doing. And there's something really satisfying about being able to continually put up personal bests. So it's a lot of fun in that sense.
That's how I approach all the sports that I do is I'm always competing against myself first and foremost
Hmm.
every single time. Which out on the archery range, that's I'm always competing against myself.
Archery is a great comparison. Yeah.
Yeah. And one last thing, my last question for you
Hmm.
is the tie-in with etiquette and golf, because I am all for any activity you can do that helps to improve your etiquette and the way that you communicate with others. So kind of share your story about how important etiquette is on the golf course.
So I think almost more than any other sport, and I've dabbled in a bunch, golf has a series of kind of unwritten rules around how to behave out there. And it's not oppressive in any way. And in fact, I think it's something that people really appreciate. It's the idea that you repair the damage you've done. If your golf ball lands and makes a dent in the putting surface, well, you fix that dent and make sure that it's not a problem for the people coming up behind you. If you land in the bunker, once you get out of the bunker, you rake it and put it back the way it was before, if not better. When people are playing, you do your best, despite what we talked about earlier about trying to ignore distractions. Try to create a distraction for your fellow players. You do your best to keep quiet when they're hitting and be respectful and be courteous. So I think there are a number of opportunities like that while out on the golf course to, just kind of teach you the way to conduct yourself that applies to more than just golf. There are all kinds of wonderful lessons about just the best way to conduct themselves on and off the golf course.
Yeah, yeah, and I've always noticed that my friends who play golf regularly and their children have the best manners of all of my friends.
Yeah,
So,
another good one. You just reminded me. On the golf course, typically at the end of the round, if you're wearing a hat, you remove your hat, you look someone in the eye, you make good eye contact, and there's a good handshake. And I love seeing that. I love seeing, particularly when I play with the kids, and
yeah.
they kind of emulate that behavior. I think that's a great lesson for them to take off the golf course as well.
Well, thank you for being on the show with us, Rob, and giving a better guide as to how golf can help you with your career path and just helping to make you a great human. Everyone in Georgia, enjoy the Masters. I know the
Mhm.
show is dropping the day the Masters start. So I hope all of you are having fun out there on the Augusta National. And thank you for watching Books That Build Skills. Today's story sparked an idea or gave you courage or helped you to see what's possible, then we did our job. Now remember, skills aren't born, they are built one choice, one challenge, and one brave step at a time. So hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and keep exploring, building, reading, and dreaming big. I am Loxley Brown, and this is Books That Build Skills.
Well said. Thanks, Loxley.